Good morning, world. Welcome to a new episode of Cedric and Brian.
You're fired up today.
I am fired up. All right, I just had a Long Island iced tea.
Yeah, I have one also.
My wife wanted to get the ingredients, so we went out and got ingredients for Long Island iced teas. For those of you who don't know what a Long Island iced tea is, it doesn't have any iced tea in it.
Not an ounce, but it is a refreshing summer drink for those of you who are of age.
Yes, and I've mentioned this before to Cedric, but this whole COVID thing, I think I'm becoming a COVID alcoholic. It's not a good thing.
You better put that out there.
I have to dry out after this. So, all right. Well, we got another exciting episode today, Cedric. We're covering things. I hate doing this, but we are gonna cover a little bit more George Floyd.
Okay.
I know. We're tired of that. We're gonna talk about the NBA again. We talked about that on our TikTok channel.
Yes, we did.
We're talking about is America.
The YouTube people, do they know we have a TikTok?
Yeah, we told them last time. I think so. But we do have a TikTok. We picked up a lot of new subscribers, actually, from our TikTok.
To the TikTok, we don't stop.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
For those of you Gen Xers, you'll get that reference. We want to ask the question, is America really still systemically racist? Mm-hmm. And what'd you write there on the last one there? Oh, Trailblazers.
It was the Trailblazers who really fought for where we are now. We've come a long way as black people. Okay. And there's some real, true, authentic trailblazers who blaze that path for us. And would they be proud of would they look on it now and say they're proud of what we've become?
And then we're going to end because we got some feedback. Cedric got some feedback.
I mean, a lot of feedback.
A lot of feedback. We don't want to just be heavy the whole time, so we're going to end with some good news. So we're going to try to end our episodes with some good news every time.
Yeah, and let's be clear. The reason we're talking about stuff is because the stuff is out there.
Yeah.
If it wasn't out there, we would love to talk about positive, uplifting, incredible things. And here's the thing. Depending on how you look at it, everything can be positive and uplifting depending on what spin you put on it.
Yeah. And with the racial climate right now, I mean, just our channel just shows that black people and white people can be friends. My wife is Hispanic, his girlfriend's white. I mean, this whole racial division is driving us crazy, so that's why we're talking about it. But let's get into it.
I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian, and this is Cedric and Brian. Woo! We love you guys!
Oh, no more drinking before taping.
All right, so Cedric, let's start with the heavy stuff first.
Your wife's phone is on.
Oh my gosh, my wife doesn't turn.
Azure, turn the phone off.
Holy cow!
That's weird. It kept ringing, but I'm already on the phone.
Quiet on the set.
Yeah, quiet. You're gonna have to take that outdoors. All right.
She's our videographer also.
If you guys noticed, we have a different set today. We're not in our normal black background set because Cedric said that was racist. He did not say that was racist. We're doing an interview. You may have seen it, or it may be coming up with a doctor in Newport Beach. So we need to do a test run with multiple cameras. So we did this.
Yes.
But let's get into it. So let's talk about George Floyd. Do you want to take this? Or do you want me to take it?
Oh, we could chime in as we see fit.
Okay.
But there's been a lot of stuff going on, and let's start with this. Let's preface it with this: the murder of George Floyd was a terrible thing. It was murder. But here's the thing that we're talking about is that we're putting this man up on a pedestal. There has been, and I'm going to embellish the numbers, 4 or 5 different memorials for him. There's been murals
Golden
painted.
casket.
Golden casket. There's been murals painted in his honor. It's ridiculous. And we're not passing judgment on this man, but here is a man who was arrested no less than 9 times. I don't care what you think you are. Anytime you hold a loaded gun at a pregnant woman's stomach and hold her at gunpoint,
And rob her.
that is just wrong. And when you're on fentanyl, when you're being arrested, and we talked about this in our last video, and I hope I come across okay when I say this, the chances of me ever being shot by the police or being beaten by a baton by the policeman is highly unlikely because I don't put myself in those situations. I don't plan on selling drugs. I don't plan on running afoul on the law unless I'm speeding, which actually I don't do. I drive like a grandfather. People always tease me about that. I drive very slow. And so, my friend, she says that I said the reason she speeds is because she's always late. I'm never late.
Yeah.
So I don't have to speed.
Well,
anyway.
I mean, let's be honest. You drive slow because you're afraid of being pulled over because you're black, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Notice the eye roll. That's exactly it.
As he mentioned before, I'm the one who's been in jail.
But I understand it, and condolences go out to George Floyd and his family. It's terrible to lose someone that, but look at what he really is, and all the adulation that he's getting, and all the press that he's getting, and we're putting this man up on the chariot, and we're marching him down through the town square, down Main Street. Is a hero.
And just to jump on that, so we're lifting him up, and now they're building murals, plaques, while we're tearing down actual people that contributed to this society.
Right.
Actually contributed. And because they may have had a flaw, we're tearing them down. So instead, we're taking one person who, by all accounts, his family, I'm sure, loved him, but it didn't seem like he was a very good person who contributed to society, yet we're giving him all this praise. And you have somebody, let's say like George Washington, who basically didn't want to be a monarch, said, nope, I'm not going to do this, created the greatest country in history, and we want to tear him down because he owned slaves during a time when people owned slaves.
Well, to take it to the streets, let's have someone like George Floyd. Me growing up being an LA native, growing up in LA, there was a very famous rapper, but you guys know his name, a very famous rapper by the name of Nipsey Hussle. And for you generation,
Nipsey Russell?
No, for you Generation Xers, that is a play on words from the famous comedian Nipsey Russell. He took that. But Nipsey Hussle was a rapper in LA who was brutally murdered just a few years ago. But he started out as, and there was no uprising, because when he was murdered by another black man. And I hate using this term because people get all triggered when I say it, but yes, it was black on black crime, because a black man murdered another black man. And we all know good and well, I'm not making this up, had Nipsey Russell been murdered by a white man...
Nipsey Russell?
Did I say Nipsey Russell?
You did say Nipsey Russell.
Let's start over.
Because he's old.
We all know this for a fact. Had Nipsey Hussle been murdered by a white cop, there would have been the same protests and the riots. Because it was another black on black man, there was some adulation for him.
Yeah.
There was the laying out of flowers and wreaths and memorials like that, but there wasn't this uprising. It was a memorial service.
Which is normal, because when John Lennon got shot too, they had flowers. There's still a place in New York City. Right. Which is good. I mean, if you're somebody who contributed to society, yes, people go out. But guess what? I don't remember there being 5 memorials for Nipsey Hussle.
There wasn't.
John Lennon.
And Nipsey Hussle started out, for those of you who aren't familiar with L.A. and Detroit and Chicago, and the gangs that run amok in those cities, Nipsey Hussle started out as a Crip. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that...
I didn't know.
A lot of these gangs, like the Crips and the Bloods, they actually started out as community activists to do good in their community.
And I did not know that. I just thought of them as 2 gangs that killed each other.
And then the Crips, I hope I get this right, the acronym for Crips in the day was Community Revolution in Process. It was a community revolution in process, and they were out to do good. And the same with the Bloods. The Bloods was brotherly love overrides oppression and destruction. That's what those acronyms stood for. And now they quickly dissolved into 2 rival gangs fighting each other. And just a little segue, I remember when it was exciting when the Magic Johnson theaters were placed in that area in the Crenshaw district. Mm-hmm. And Magic, because he had a voice in LA and still does, he called members of the Bloods and Crips together. He says, you guys are going to do what you're going to do, but this right here, this is sacred ground. This is where people are going to bring their families to enjoy a night out of entertainment and movies. This is off grounds. Yeah. And because they respected who Magic was and his voice, and he has a strong voice, they said, you got it. Yeah. But I don't know why it can't be for the entire city. It's like, stop fighting.
Yeah, well, but, there's economics that go on that, because they were making money off selling drugs.
Right.
So, again, something that might have started off as uplifting, but that leads into the second point that you wanted to bring up, is because we're looking into these gangs to help bring people out of poverty, but that's not the way to do it, right?
Right. And look, my cousin, we talked about him in an earlier episode, and we need to get him on one day. Yeah. Spent 30 years in prison, growing up in basically a fatherless home. And that is the whole thing, and we talked about this in our last video with the whole BLM movement. It is not about white people and white cops murdering us. It is the fatherless rate in the black community is at all-time highs at 70%, and we're dropping out of schools. And why would a young black child, a young black male, want to strive to be a doctor like a Dr. Ben Carson, or to be an attorney or like Dr. Clarence Thomas, when our own people, we look at them and ridicule them, and we make fun of them. and we call them Uncle Toms and sellouts.
Yeah, they're two of probably the most predominantly successful black men, modern. I mean, Ben Carson was the first person to separate conjoined twins.
Yes. Yeah,
from the
brain.
head.
Yeah, the head yeah.
I mean, this is amazing stuff. This should be what's out there in the ethos. This should be frontline news, not George Floyd. Sorry. I mean, again, it's terrible that George Floyd died. But why is somebody like that called
I'll tell you,
time?
because the problem is Dr. Ben Carson, Dr. Mr. Thomas Sowell, Larry Elder, they don't have street cred. They articulate, they enunciate.
Okay, what about Lil Wayne?
Lil Wayne has street cred, but he's I guess in the artist field, in the entertainment field, he's crossed over. Mm-hmm. Now there's always these terms, and we're always black people are always the first people to like. Once you're not solely black, once you're not part of BET or in Ebony Magazine or in Jet Magazine, once you've crossed over and become part of mainstream white culture, now you've crossed over and now you're no longer one of us.
Well, why does that happen? I don't see that in any other culture. If an Hispanic, if an Asian, if they're successful, they're not told that they've sold out their race.
Right.
So why does the black community do that?
Because we've made being, and I'm stealing this from Candace Owens, we have made being disrespectful cool. Being disrespectful, being and going against the system. You look, and me growing up in the 80s, listening to NWA, one of their hit songs, F the Police.
Yeah.
And our songs that women are referred to as female dogs and garden tools. What are they called? Hoes. Yes, garden tools and the female dogs and garden tools. And we've made that cool. If you don't talk a certain way, if you don't wear your hat to the side, or if your jeans aren't sagging just a little bit, shows a little bit of your butt crack, you've lost your, and we were talking about this earlier, you've lost your black card. Why in the hell is there a black card anyway?
So I have a question then. So we hear all this stuff about intersectionality. It seems like it's, and I can say this as a white male, this is one thing I can say, that as a white male, I'm on the outside, but if you're an LGBTQ, black, brown, whatever, then you're in the same camp. Yet, how come they don't have a problem with black artists who do use things like B and H, the bitches and the hoes?
Right.
Why isn't that called out? Because that is against feminism, right?
Right.
I mean, why do they get a pass? Is it just because you're black?
Because you're black, and you lose cool points, you lose swag points. And we've put such a emphasis on being cool, and I tell my students all the time. My students are like, and I say, guys, don't worry about being cool, because I tell them, don't go with the flow, because you don't know where the flow is going.
Right.
Find something that you can base your morals and principle and ethics on that's not going to change over the course of time, because I guarantee you, what's cool in 2020 is not going to be cool in 2025.
Right. I think just that term "cool" is not cool anymore.
That the term "cool" it's like trying to be in vogue, trying to be in what's hip, and that's the problem, because especially now with technology, every 12 to 24 months, you got to change the way you think or change your style in order to fit in what's going on with what's cool now.
But success is success.
Right.
And when you're successful, no matter the race, then you can rise above that.
Right.
But again, it's teaching the youth that they're looking at the wrong role models.
Right.
Instead of the Ben Carsons. I mean, I don't think they teach enough. I know I didn't get enough of Frederick Douglass.
Oh, no.
He was all about the self-made man. I think that was his term.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Lift yourself up by the bootstraps. You can do whatever you can. And he was a black man. I think any kids watching that, do you know who Frederick Douglass is? Did he even teach you that?
Probably not. They're too busy, like I said, teaching about Madonna and the impact she made on music and things like that.
Or LeBron James and, how he's being hunted down every day.
How do you get hunted in your mansion?
I don't know. That's what I said. Like I said in our last episode, oh, please oppress me like LeBron. That leads us into, is America really systemically racist? I mean, please show me the systems that oppress minorities.
I don't think it's alive, and this is the part where I get yelled at, and I'm gonna get text messages from my friends and emails that I'm selling out, or I'm being a coon, or I'm being Uncle Tom, which I said over and over again, it's a compliment, so thank you if you call me Uncle Tom. But if America was, and let's look at some examples. Let's look at the prime example that America hangs its hat on, was Barack Obama becoming president.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the numbers, if blacks comprise 13% of the population and whites comprise, 70%, if not more of the population, how did a black man get elected to the highest position in our country
If everybody's
if we're
racist.
systemically racist? Because,
Not only that, but he didn't get 100% of the black vote.
right,
Believe it or not.
right.
Because there still are some conservative black folks out there who didn't vote for
he
him.
didn't get mine. Oops!
Oh, don't say that.
Out loud.
Well, you've already lost your black card, so you're all right.
I know.
But yes, and I thought, and I actually, when Barack Obama won, for two reasons. One, I don't think the people he ran against, I was not passionate about anyway.
Right.
And when he won, I thought, okay, we can finally get over this race thing.
Right.
But what happens?
Right.
BLM actually was invented during his presidency.
Right. Right.
So, I mean, it didn't do what I was hoping that it would
Because,
do.
and when you went to college, didn't you take advantage of your diversity scholarship?
Yeah, absolutely. They had the White Diversity Scholarship Fund that I'm still paying off now.
And affirmative action, how did that work for you?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Guys, and I think it's just incredible. And here's the thing: we're trying to, we're being smart asses and stuff, and we're trying to make light of this and stuff to show how funny it is and how idiotic and asinine it really is. Because America is not systemically racist. There's not a group of people who are meeting in secret places, figuring out ways to undermine black people and to keep them from becoming all they can be. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame.
Like we brought up on our TikTok, that school, and we know that the schools aren't run by a bunch of right-wing conservatives, where that school in Washington was kind of lower expectations for black students so that they could go out and protest.
You know what's scary? Just thought about something. Talking about schools. You know how schools are. You go to Abraham Lincoln School or George Washington Elementary School. This is gonna be like a George Floyd Elementary School.
Oh God, help us all.
Where do you go? I go to Floyd Elementary.
The symbol will be him putting a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach.
Oh, geez.
Again, we don't. It's horrible what happened. But again, I want to bring something up. So all of a sudden that was turned into.
Well, you're the editor, so
yeah.
Go
Well,
ahead.
all of a sudden that was turned into a race thing. People project just because he's white and he's black. They said that must have been racist. Who knows if he was racist? He might have just been a dick. That cop.
Talking about George Floyd?
No, Chauvin.
Oh yeah.
Who said it was
Derek
racist?
Chauvin.
Who said that was all of a sudden it was a racist thing?
Yeah.
From what we've heard, he knew the guy before. Maybe he just didn't like him as a person. Maybe he knew he's a cop. Maybe he knew this guy'd been to jail 9 times.
Right.
So we always jump to the conclusion if it's white and black, racist.
Right.
Racist.
Right.
So if I do this to you, racist.
Ow.
Sorry.
If you guys didn't know this,
I did that specifically because I'm white.
Right. Yeah, you must be racist because you hit me.
Exactly.
Right. And if you guys didn't know this, I'm going to say it out here right now. You've heard it first time on the Cedric and Brian show. Assholes come in all races, creeds, and colors. I have met Hispanic, Asian, black, and white. Complete idiots and jerks. Has nothing to do with color. If you're an idiot, you're an idiot.
That's why I said everything always is if, and the media always finds it if it's black and white. Of course, if it's black on black, that doesn't get covered.
Well,
These poor kids. A 14-month-old, he was under 2-year-old baby just got killed. Another black on black crime, shot in the stomach and died. A baby.
Well,
How many of you have heard of that story? How many of you heard that story of the baby who just got killed?
I don't know if it was in Detroit or Chicago, where a guy was walking down the street holding his baby in the hand in the crosswalk, and a rival gang member, this guy was a gang member, came by, shot, missed him, and hit the baby instead. Now, back in the day, and this is going to sound really weird to say, but back in the day, there was a code of ethics. There was what's it called?
You don't get kids and women.
Kids and women are off limits. But now it's like it's a free for all. Because back in the days, a gang member's carrying his baby, and from what I understood, the guy used the baby as a shield.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's fathering 101 right there.
And it was the same like with the mafia. You didn't kill the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just a code. It was the code.
Yeah.
Anyway, because of the feedback, we want to end on something positive, right?
Oh, if you can find something.
I found something. And it's something to do, and it's not just, just feel good. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to goodnewsnetwork.org, and you can find this story. So here is the headline. because this is big. Because right now, not only are we dealing with all this racial conflict, which is silly, because the people who actually fought for civil rights
Right.
must be turning over in their grave. Because
Right.
they're making up microaggressions. They're making up Jussie Smollett. If there was real racism rampant, why are they making up these stories?
Right.
Why do they have something called microaggressions? Anyway, so the people that actually fought for it, the Martin Luther Kings, the people that went to jail for it, the people that had hoses put on them, those were the fighters.
Those are the trailblazers.
Yeah, they went through real racial segregation where the laws did not favor. There was not equality. It's 2020. Again, I put it to you. Find something in the books that shows us that there's systemic racism, that there's something in the books where Cedric can't go in and get a job or get a license or vote because of the color of skin. So I'm just putting that out to you. But okay, we're ending. Good news. Here we go. Potential drug candidate emerges as llama antibodies found to neutralize COVID-19 spike protein. So this is good news. Okay, we all want to get done with this whole COVID-19 thing. We want to be able to hang out with our friends and family again. We don't want to wear masks everywhere. So we want this to end. So here, I'm just going to read you the first paragraph, and then I want you to look it up. Again, it's goodnewsnetwork.org. I will put the article in the link below. But it says 2 nanobodies, I don't know what that is, but small stable immune cells similar to various antibodies and derived from llamas have been found in tests to neutralize COVID-19 by blocking its interaction with the human receptor that it binds to. So if they can block the receptor, then this thing can't multiply inside your body. This is really good news. Let's hope that this works, and let's hope that we can put this whole COVID-19 coronavirus behind us, right?
Hallelujah.
Yep.
I'm so tired of things being closed down.
No, I need it. My family, we like to cruise. I need to go back on the cruise ships, man.
How many times have we gonna go through a restaurant where you put the mask on for 5 seconds to walk through the front door, and as soon as you walk in, you take it off?
I know.
This is just stupid.
So let's hope. I'll look that up. I'll put it in the link below. Let's hope that that's promising. Again, we don't need a vaccine if we can just find something that keeps people from dying.
Right.
That's all we need.
I agree. And you can edit this part out. I don't know. I'm just blabbering right now. This has been a good friend of mine for 20 years. 20 years we have been the best of buds. We've talked about
Lifted, played basketball together. Now we're
Talked
doing
about-
YouTube.
done life together, talked about raising kids, stuff like that.
I've been through 2 of his divorces.
Wow. So with that being said, a lot of you have made some incredible comments on YouTube and on TikTok about how we're a incredible couple.
I think the people on YouTube know we're not a couple, but on TikTok
I can say this as a heterosexual male. I love this man.
Yes,
I love him.
and I love this man.
We are not a couple. He has a beautiful, beautiful, lovely, incredible wife. I've been trying to steal him from her for the last 10 years. I just gave up. I don't know if I need to bring that up. I just wanted to bring it up. But we're not a couple. We're just the best of buds.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Yeah, we don't even, until this stuff comes up, we don't think of it as black and white. He doesn't say, hey, meet my black friend Cedric. I say, meet my white friend Brian. We're Cedric and Brian.
In fact, if you look at our old episodes, race doesn't even come up, but when this whole George Floyd thing has happened, we're just like, we need to bring people together. We need unity. People need to see this. It's
UNITY. UNITY. Sorry, it's a song back in the day.
Sorry.
I don't sing.
I'll lower your volume on now. But anyway, so we want to wrap it up. So we wanted to end with something positive, so we did.
Yes.
Alright.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell, and keep on watching us and keep leaving the comments. We love you. We appreciate you. And until next time, I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian. We'll see you later.